let's start with annotations in jBehave. Okay, so coming to step annotations, we have @given, @when, @then, @alias, @aliases, @pending. Okay, @given, when, and then we have already seen in the previous videos. They are used for candidate steps. Each annotation holds a regular pattern as a value, which is used to match the candidate steps. Okay, coming to alias. Okay, so in our story file I have written I want to book a flight ticket. Okay, maybe in some other scenario I might have to write my text in different format, but I want the same logic to be executed for the text also. In that case we have to use alias. Okay, let's see here I choose my source location as Hyderabad, and in the scenario 2 also I saying I choose my source location as Hyderabad. Okay, in scenario 2 let's say we changed some text, so I choose my source location as Hyderabad, also should select Hyderabad from the drop down, source drop down, and source location should be selected as Hyderabad. This also needs to be the purpose of this line also is to select Hyderabad in source drop down. Okay, in that case if we save this, it says the step definition is not found now. No step is matching, right? Yeah, go to our steps mapping. We don't have any step with the pattern matching, right? So even in that case also I want to run the same method. Okay, source should be Hyderabad. In that case we can use alias. Okay, if you say @alias and give that pattern here, okay, just import alias from Java core. Okay, and then put this pattern over there. So you are not repeating your Java logic. Okay, you are just saying even for this kind of pattern and also for this kind of pattern run this same method. Okay, so using alias we can say that. Okay, suppose if we want to give multiple patterns, then you have to use @aliases. Import that. In aliases just put values is equal to, give the list of patterns that it has to look for. So if you have multiple patterns, you can just write the patterns comma separated. These aliases are optional. Okay, if you want the same code to be run for different patterns, you can just use aliases. Let's see @pending. Okay, so suppose we have a story file written, okay, but the logic was not yet implemented for the story file. Then what you have to do is, suppose my destination location should not be, so this execution, the logic is not yet finalized, so I can just write @pending. Okay, just import @pending from annotations, core annotations. Okay, so even if I don't write any logic here, it will not throw any error for this. So now when we execute, I choose my source location as Hyderabad, should execute the same logic, and source location should be selected as Hyderabad, also should execute the same logic. Okay, let's run and see. In your first scenario, I choose my source location as Hyderabad, the logic got executed. In second scenario, source location should be selected as Hyderabad, the same logic got executed. Okay, so that is the use of aliases. Now let's see scenario annotations. Okay, @before scenario and @after scenario. If you want to execute some logic before each scenario, then I can use @before scenario annotation. So first of all, write some logic and then add @before annotation to the logic. Now let me execute. So before every scenario, we have to see this logic getting executed. in this scenario, before starting the first step, your before scenario got executed. Okay, similarly go to the next scenario. Before starting the first step, before scenario got executed. Okay, this is how we use before scenario. You can even control like before scenario has to be executed ScenarioType.Example. Okay, so if you give this parameter, what happens is it will check for scenarios which are having example type. Means we haven't discussed this yet, but in parameters topic we will discuss about examples. Examples is used to send the parameters in a tabular format to our scenarios. Okay, so if you want to run before scenario for only such kind of scenarios, you can just say upon test ScenarioType.Example. Okay, so we don't have any scenarios which are having example tables, right? So if I run the same script once again, now I will not see my before scenario getting executed before these normal scenarios. Okay, these are normal scenarios which do not have example. Okay, let's execute now. We should not see before scenario. So you can see here, after the starting of your scenario, the before scenario logic didn't get executed, directly your first step got executed. Okay, that's about before scenario. Okay, so I have written one more method. We are going to see after scenario. Just import core annotations after scenario. Okay, so this will be executed after each scenario. Okay, let me execute it. Now let's go through the scenarios. So this is your first scenario. So I had a pleasant booking experience. After that, this is the second scenario. I had a very pleasant booking experience. Okay, so even for after scenario also we have few parameters. Similarly, you can give upon type scenario type as example. Okay, so it will execute after the scenarios which have only example type, and you can also give on outcome after scenario.outcome. So when do you want to run this? If you want to run after failure, okay, if there is a failure, then only this should have execute, or else it should not execute. Okay, so if it gets failed, I am saying had a very bad booking experience. Okay, if your scenario gets failed, then this will come, then this method will get executed, right? So let's fail one of our scenario. Let's execute this. Okay, now see here, after executing, so we have given after scenario. When you see a failure, this should execute, right? So in my first scenario, there is no failure. After scenario didn't get executed. In my second scenario, there is a failure, right? So after scenario got executed.